$100. That is the entire cost of admission to the experiment I am about to show you. Not 100 a day, not 100 a week, $100 a month, roughly $3 a day, put into a single asset and then left completely alone. And what that turns into after 10 years is a number most people flatly refuse to believe the first time they see it. I am going to show you that number. But not yet, because if I say it now, you will do exactly what everyone does. You will call it a fluke, you will click away, and you will miss the one part that actually makes it work. So stay with me. Here is what almost nobody tells you about building wealth with Bitcoin. The people who won were almost never the ones who guessed the right moment. They were the boring ones. The ones who bought the same small amount, month after month, through the crashes, through the boredom, through the headlines screaming that it was finally over. There is one simple rule underneath all of it, and once you see it, you will never look at a red day in the market the same way again. Hold on to that, because the whole payoff hinges on it. So let me walk you up the ladder, one step at a time. From the rule a complete beginner can start tonight, to the reason this quietly beats almost everyone who tries to be clever about it. It flips hard near the end. Do not skip ahead. Step 1. The one rule, and why it is almost stupidly simple. You pick an amount you will not miss. Let us say $100. On the same day every single month, the 1st, the 15th, whatever you like, you buy that $100 of Bitcoin. That is it. You do not check the price first. You do not wait for a good day. You do not try to be smart about it. Whether Bitcoin is up, down, or sideways, the 100 goes in. This has a name. It is called dollar cost averaging. And it is the single most beginner-proof way to own a wildly volatile asset without letting it wreck you. Sounds far too plain to matter, right? Step 2 is where that plain little rule starts doing something almost nobody expects. Step 2. Why buying blindly beats trying to time it. Every beginner has the exact same instinct. Wait for the dip, buy low. It feels so obvious. But here is the problem hiding inside that plan. To buy the low, you have to know it is the low, and you only ever know that afterward, when it is gone. So in real life, waiting for the dip turns into waiting, and watching the price run away from you, and then finally panic buying near the top out of pure regret. The person who just bought their boring 100 every month never had that problem. They caught some highs, sure, but they also caught every single low automatically, without needing to predict one thing. And that automatic catching of the lows is the seed of something much bigger, which is exactly what Step 3 is about. Step 3. The reason the volatility everyone fears is secretly the engine. Bitcoin swings hard. It can drop 40, even 50% in a matter of weeks, and it has, more than once. That terrifies people. It should not, and here is the part that flips it. When you buy a fixed $100, the price decides how much Bitcoin you get, not you. When the price is high, your 100 buys a little sliver. When the price crashes, that very same $100 buys a big fat pile. So the scary red months, the ones that make everyone else sell in a panic, are the exact months where your automatic 100 is quietly loading up on the most coins at the deepest discount. Read that again. The crash is not the enemy of this strategy. The crash is when it does its best work. The people selling in fear are handing their coins, cheap, to the people calmly buying the same 100 they always buy. And there is a rhythm to those crashes and recoveries that makes this even more powerful, which is Step 4. The 4-year clock. Nobody has the patience to wait out. Bitcoin has moved, historically in rough 4-year cycles, tied to an event baked into its code called the halving, where the new supply of coins created gets cut in half about every 4 years. The pattern, and I want to be honest with you, a pattern is not a promise, has tended to look like this. A long, painful grind lower that makes almost everyone give up and swear it off forever. Then a quiet recovery nobody notices, then a violent run higher that ends up on the evening news, then another brutal crash, and repeat. Now think about what that rhythm does to the boring 100-a-month person. During the long, painful grind, when everyone else has quit in disgust, they are still buying, still loading up cheap, month after month. So when the violent run finally arrives, they are already holding a pile they accumulated at the very bottom. They did not time the cycle, they just refused to leave, and the cycle rewarded them for staying. And that stubbornness, that flat refusal to quit, is the one thing that separates nearly every winner from every loser in this. Which brings me to the part one have been holding back this whole time. Now here is the turn. This is the piece that reframes everything, and it is the entire reason I made this video. Everything so far sounds lovely in theory, so let me make it brutally concrete. The real enemy of this strategy is not a crash, it is you, quitting. The math only works if the 100 keeps going in through the ugly stretches, because those ugly stretches are where the cheap coins live. The person who stops the moment it gets scary locks in every ounce of the pain and misses the recovery that was supposed to pay them back for it. So the entire game, 10 years of it, comes down to one deeply unglamorous skill. Not picking, not timing, not being a genius, just not stopping. Automate the 100, and then get completely out of your own way. So what does that boring 100 a month actually become? Let me give you the honest version, not a fantasy. Bitcoin has been the single best performing asset of the last decade, by a wide margin, and someone who put a steady modest amount in every month across a full cycle and simply held did not end up with a slightly bigger number. They ended up with a life-changing one. Many multiples of what they put in. In plenty of cases, more than they earned from years of their actual salary, out of an amount they barely noticed leaving their account. Now, I am not going to hand you a fake guaranteed figure, because anyone who promises you an exact return on something this volatile is lying straight to your face, and I refuse to do that to you. But the shape of the outcome is not in doubt. Small, consistent, automatic, and left alone across time, on the best performing asset of the era, is how ordinary people with ordinary paychecks quietly built extraordinary positions. The 100 was never really the point, the not stopping was the point. So here is exactly what to do with this, tonight, in about 10 minutes. First, pick your number. It does not have to be 100, it can be 25, it can be 10. The size of the amount matters far less than the length of the streak. Second, open a reputable exchange or a Bitcoin app and set up a recurring buy and automatic purchase on the same day every month. This is the whole trick, right here. If you automate it, you remove the one thing that breaks almost everybody, which is their own emotions on a terrifying day. Third, and this is the genuinely hard part, decide right now, in advance, while you are calm, that you will not sell during a crash and you will not stop buying during one. Write it down somewhere. Because the day it drops, and it absolutely will drop, this calm decision you made today is the only thing standing between you and the panic decision you would otherwise make in the moment. And here is a final piece almost nobody bothers to tell beginners. Once you actually own a meaningful amount, get it off the exchange and into a wallet you alone control. Not because exchanges always fail, but because the entire point of this asset is that you and only you hold the keys to it. Owning the coins is a fundamentally different thing from owning an IOU for the coins on someone else's website. That single move quietly separates the people who truly own Bitcoin from the people who just have an entry on somebody else's ledger. You do not need to be rich to start this. You do not need to be smart, or early, or lucky. You need one small amount you will not miss, one automatic buy, and the plain stubbornness to keep it running when every instinct in you is screaming to stop. That is the whole strategy. The people who stayed poor watching Bitcoin from the sidelines were almost never wrong about the asset itself. They just could not sit still long enough to let it work. If this made a scary, complicated thing suddenly feel simple, subscribe, because the next video breaks down exactly which apps and wallets make that automatic buy painless, and the sneaky fees that quietly eat your stack if you pick the wrong one. The lowest fee exchanges and the safest beginner wallets I could find are linked below. And setting one up costs you nothing but the 10 minutes it takes. Pick your number tonight, automate it. Then do the hardest, and quietly the most profitable thing in all of investing, which is absolutely nothing at all.